to Sarmaya Snippets. As we sit confined in our homes amidst a pandemic, I wanted to visit a time in the early history of Bombay when the first ever epidemic hit the fort of Bombay, namely the bubonic plague of 1689-90. As per the Royal Charter of 1668, the East India Company had leased the 7 islands of Bombay from the Royal Crown, but as of 1685, having found a small measure of economic success in the subcontinent, the East India Company decided to wage an ill-conceived war on the Mughals in order to extract better trade terms from the mighty Aurangzeb. By 1688, the war had reached the Malabar coast, and on 14th February 1689, Sidi Yaqub Khan, an ally of the Mughals, launched an attack on the islands of Bombay from his island fortress of Janjira. They made their way into the islands by alighting at Sivri, and the stage was set for an epic but alas one-sided battle. All surrounding forts were immediately abandoned, with most of the general population and militia making for the mainland on small boats, and the rest crowded themselves all into Bombay Castle and fort. By day 2, the lesser forts of Masgaon and Mahim were taken, and by day 3, they had reached the town itself, burning and ransacking as they went along. Gun batteries were set up on Dongri Hill and nearby dilapidated buildings, and a system of trenches was dug all around the castle, after which the Bombay Castle and the fortifications around it were bombarded by large stones. In less than a week, the company had nothing left to defend but the land between Bombay Castle and about a kilometer south, culminating at Mendim's Point, which was the English burial ground then, and today the Maharashtra State Police Headquarters building. It's interesting to note that at this time, the Marathas were also embroiled in a war against the Mughals, and 3,000 Maratha swords for hire were taken in by the company, and it is probably the only reason that they could even hold on to the little land that they had. After being humiliated at court, the English were horrified to learn that the imperial Farman, although granted, gave them no real advantage. All in all, at the end of the siege and the bubonic plague, the number of Englishmen on the island went down from 700-800 to about 60. The company was destined to have its day in the sun, as one of the first ever publicly traded companies and the most powerful corporation in world history. But this was not yet the case. Their only saving grace at this time, it would seem, was the high level of irrelevance, as the Mughal Empire slowly passed through its zenith and the Maratha Empire was on a steep ascendancy. Thus ended the First Anglo-Mughal War, one of the most humiliating periods for the company in their 274-year-old history, and one that they gladly buried deep into their archives, consigned into oblivion.